Hey everybody, greetings from the dank basement. This is Paul, your wicked Uncle Squinty, speaking a little bit softly because my wife has gone to bed. Believe it or not, they're having her go into school tomorrow. They are launching the first day of what will be many days of remote learning. Students all over the United States, because of the COVID-19 crisis, the pandemic, are going to be learning in their homes for the rest of the year. So she's got to go to school and she's already gone to bed. So I will do this quietly and efficiently, I hope. Hi. We need to talk about the COVID virus. Everybody else is, so why not us? But we are nasal snuff takers, and we put ourselves at maybe a little bit more risk. I'll explain how we're going to minimize those risks and what we're going to do. Now remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a healthcare professional of any kind. I'm some bozo that does snuff reviews and chats at you. But this is what I know for sure because I got it from the Centers for Disease Control, and I think it's worth hearing again. The COVID-19 virus, no longer called the coronavirus simply because there are lots and lots of coronaviruses, including SARS. COVID-19 is more specific and more correct. And that's what we'll call it here. COVID-19 can be spread one of two ways: by coming into close contact with a person who has the virus in a confined space for a period of 15 minutes or longer. That's why rock concerts are canceled, big gatherings, offices are closed. You could get it just by being close to someone who has it for a long period of time. If you're outside, of course, you're at less risk, and that's why we should all be taking nice long walks in our parks and sidewalks and getting some fresh air, getting exercise, because it's good for you. But while we're outside, you have to maintain what's called social distancing, which means you can't go to closer to a person than 2 meters, which is actually more than 6 feet. 2 meters is the measure suggested by the World Health Organization. So we're going to want to stay a little bit further than 6 feet. And remember, a sneeze can travel more than 3 meters, more than 10 feet. So you might want to make your social distancing just a little more distant. That's my advice, not the government's. But a sneeze can fly. Speaking of sneezing and coughing, you already know to cough into your elbow. Make sure that the aerosol doesn't hit somebody. But there's another way to get the virus as well. See, the virus will live on your skin, and you can transfer the virus to an environmental surface like a table or a desktop, the counter at Walmart, the checkout at your local grocery store, the handles of your car. So if you're out in the wide world and you touch something that has the virus on it, you might transfer the virus to your own face if you touch it. Bad idea. Lots of ports of entry for those viruses to enter, including the corners of your eyes, your mouth, and of course your nostrils, right? So we snuff takers might be at a little higher risk because we are very deliberately often touching our own faces when we sniff. Sometimes we don't. We manage not to touch our faces, but you do, a little bit. You touch it with the thinnest layer of Kleenex or handkerchief with your own fingers. You touch your nose when you blow your nose, so we got to be careful. So for the time being, because I don't want to introduce anything back into the snuff, and I'm not just talking about the COVID-19 virus, I'm talking about the common cold or strep or something like that. Never want to inoculate my snuff with anything. Do I think that those nasties could live in snuff? I don't know. I'm not a bacteriologist or a virologist or a microbiologist. I have no idea if viruses and such can live in snuff. I would think not, but I'm not taking chances. Not using the bullet, not using the spoon, because I would have to sanitize them with alcohol after every sniff. It's not convenient. What I do instead is I wash my hands before I sniff. In this case, I'm using hand sanitizer for convenience. Yeah, hand sanitizer, do you believe it? I found some. Actually, my wife, Betsy, found it when she was out of boredom rearranging the bathroom cupboards, and she found it way in the back of the cupboard under the sink. You wash your hands and say the alphabet to yourself slowly, 2 seconds per letter. And as you rub your hand, you make sure you touch all surfaces, including the nails, the top of the wrist, the meaty part of your palm, the karate chop edge of your fist, where you might rest it on a table. Remember, your hands will have the most contact, and the fingertips, thumb tip, the meat of the palm, and so on. So you want to pay attention to that. And of course, we want to pay attention to our fingertips. Now, I will warn you, Pinching snuff right after using hand sanitizer, it smells really, really weird. By the way, guys, if I sound a little strung out, this is the 9th time I've tried to do this video and I keep getting interrupted. And I have said this same little speech a lot of times, and I've done a lot of snuff as a result. What I do is I take a pinch with, I always pinch this way, so there's nothing new. I've got clean hands. I take the pinch, warm it maybe a little bit, dust it out on the boxcar. I know it's going to smell weird because of the hand sanitizer, but that only lasts for the first sniff. Cheers. Might be a challenge to match the smell of your hand sanitizer with the right nasal snuff. Could be a fun challenge. Okay, now you noticed I even wiped my nose with the back of my hand. That's bad medicine. But I'm only sniffing with this hand. I'm pinching with this one. I'm hoping that that will keep me from inoculating my snuff with something nasty that might mess with me down the road. I do get asked if nasal snuff will stop the COVID-19 virus. Boy, I sure wouldn't bet my life on it. Again, I'm not a medical expert. I really can't say, and obviously it's never been studied. I do know that in the case of common head colds, I have fewer of them in the winters where I take nasal snuff. I have not had the flu in a number of years, and I don't get the flu shot typically. I know I should, and I probably will next year. But the flu shot would not have kept us safe from COVID-19 anyway. And that seems to be the big issue, although influenza A is still definitely out there. But I don't want to spread this, and I don't want to get it. And for that reason, I'm pinching with my fingers, keeping everything clean. I'm not sharing snuff with people for a while. We're not supposed to be social mixing anyway, so. But I will do it on Skype if you want to, or FaceTime via iPhone. If you'd like to have a call, do a pinch of snuff with me, spend a few minutes talking about snuff or whatever you want to talk about. Maybe you just want to cry in your beer a little bit. That's perfectly fine. I'm happy to talk, happy to listen, and you're free to call me. But let's arrange it first so I don't get swamped. UncleSquinty@gmail.com. UncleSquinty@gmail.com. Harassers and idiots will promptly be blocked. The tone of your email will determine whether or not we speak. And I will give you my time if you and I can give each other our respect. Fair enough, fair enough. Oh, y paréntesis, yo hablo español y si quisiera hablar conmigo en español, estoy puro abierto a esta idea. Por favor, que me escribas Uncle Squinty, UNCLESQUINTY @gmail.com. Casi dije puta.com. Eso sí que es. Entonces podemos charlar también por Skype y o FaceTime en iPhone. Gracias. Thank you. Well, that's about it. I'd like to close tonight's little meeting of the Fellows of Snuff with a little song. I'd like to buy the world a dose of zithromycin and back it up with just a touch of hydrochloroquine. I'd like to make the whole wide world just chill out and relax. I'd like to give the world a pill like Xanax. That's the way it is. It ain't the way it should be. But with COVID-19, it's just the way it is. Hey, everybody, do say stay safe. The keys, once again, wash your hands before you pinch snuff. Use separate hands for pinching and sniffing. Do not share your snuff. For the time being, you might want to suspend the use of spoons and bullets, but snuff boxes are perfectly acceptable. Thank you for watching. Glad to be back. If it's only temporary, at least I could get this message out. I thank you for watching. God bless you. Stay clean and stay safe and stay healthy.